So Nintendo's finally shown off the Switch 2 after months of speculation on what it would be, and the overall reaction to this has been mixed, to say the least. There are some things that look legitimately great, while there are other things that have people acting a bit worried. For good reason. I myself think the console looks fantastic, but there are one or two things that I would like to be clarified first, or I just think are overall bad moves. However, if there's one thing that I have noticed has been running rampant since the reveal, is the full-on just plain misinformation that's being spread like wildfire on social media. You've got information about the game card keys being wrong, prices being wrong, information about the upgrade for Switch 1 and Switch 2 games being wrong. So I decided to get all my thoughts in order and make a video about it really, just so then I can just get my thoughts out there and stop talking to my friends about this 24/7, because I'm pretty sure even they're starting to get tired of me talking about this. So, to begin with, the console itself. It's priced at around $449 US, 395 UK pounds, or 469 euros. That is, of course, before the tariffs changed the US price. I am so sorry, you guys. And honestly, for the console itself, personally, these prices are fine. Don't get me wrong, I would like it if they were cheaper, but when you compare it to, say, the Steam Deck, it's about £50 more expensive and it has newer hardware, so it kind of makes sense. But the console itself is not where people are having their issues. It's the prices of the games where most of the online ire is coming from. Mario Kart is flat out too expensive. The game looks great, I am looking forward to playing it, but it's just extortionate in regards to how much they're charging for it. This isn't helped by the flat-out misinformation that's going around on the price, with a lot of news outlets saying that Mario Kart World will cost $80 for the digital version, more for physical, which is just wrong. Even have the Dorito Pope themselves spreading this. However, if you do a quick Google search, you can find the legitimate price of these products in their respective regions. So I don't know how this information's getting spread out. You can just Google the price yourself and you'll get the correct answer. Hell, you can get the correct price off Nintendo's own site. Along with this, people are saying that if you were to get all the accessories, the console would be very expensive. And they're right. But do you really need a second dock? Don't get me wrong, if you're playing on more than one TV, having the second dock would be useful, but at that point you're just paying for the convenience. You can just unplug the original dock and then plug it in front of the TV you're planning on using. You don't need two docks. The camera and the controller, however, I do feel are a bit overpriced. Although, if anybody remembers how hard it was to get a webcam during the pandemic, well, these prices are nothing compared to what scalpers were charging back then. Another point of misinformation are the game key cards. People are saying that every game is going to be a game key card. There'll be no games that'll be all on the card, and that's just wrong. Game key cards are a way for consumers to see that when they buy a game, they will have to have an online connection to download the rest of the game, much like LA Noire on the Switch 1, or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, but let's face it, you're probably better off not downloading the rest of that game because it sucks. The thing that confuses me, however, is how Bravely Default is a game key card. That's a 3DS game. What do you mean you can't fit all that on a game card? You can fit Cyberpunk on a game card, and that game's massive. Another point of contention is the Switch 1 and the Switch 2 upgrades. Now, they are charging for some upgrades, not all. I've seen people online saying they're charging for every Switch 1 and Switch 2 upgrade, and that's just wrong. The only ones that they are charging for are ones that they're adding additional content to, and in my eyes, I see that more like DLC. Mario Party Jamboree has several full-on new modes. Kirby and the Forgotten Land has an extra campaign. I see these more as DLC than a Switch 1 or Switch 2 upgrade. The only one that I'm a bit iffy about is Zelda, because Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have this app functionality, which if you don't use the app, you're not really getting any extra bonuses from it. Welcome back, Windows Smart Glass. If you're a Nintendo Switch Online subscriber, namely the Expansion Pass tier, you get these two for free, which I think is okay because these are the two that I was a bit iffy about. Don't get me wrong, if they were charging for these resolution/frame rate upgrades, I would be annoyed. It's a simple thing, and Nintendo have done many things with the Switch 2 reveal to be annoyed about. But can we please be annoyed at the correct things, not something that's completely false? For example, the fact that the Switch 2 Welcome Tour game is not a pack-in title, you have to pay money for it. It's not even a lot of money, it's around about $6.12 or £4.65 if the price is a straight conversion, which at that point, why not just make it a pack-in title? That price is nothing. They're losing literally no money if they make it a pack-in title. I don't get it. And it does suck that the game chat function is locked behind a paywall, even though it is free for the first year. Doubly so because they've made it a full-on button on the controller, so you have a button on the controller that you can't use unless you pay for it. I can imagine this being an issue for people who play mainly free-to-play games like Fortnite, Fall Guys or Rocket League. Games where you need to be able to talk to your teammates if you want to do well. Thankfully, Nintendo Online is the cheapest out of the consoles. It's far cheaper than Sony or Microsoft's offering. Despite this though, the fact that we have to pay for this anyway is a bit of a red mark. Let's face it, people will be using Discord anyway. Or TeamSpeak, if you're a real one. One positive thing that I do want to talk about though, because I don't want this video to be overly negative, is that they're finally bringing back GameCube games. Now, as somebody who grew up with the launch box, I love the GameCube. I'm very happy to see these games make a return. Although, I'm a bit surprised that they're not also bringing in the Wii. I'd imagine with the Joy-Cons you'd be able to emulate the Wii motion control fairly well. Although, I can't say I'm looking forward to the idea of Nintendo drip feeding us another bunch of classic games. Lastly, I also want to talk about people online that are just being fairly overconfident. I'm looking at you, Steam Deck users and emulation people. I have a Steam Deck. I love it. It's a fantastic bit of kit. But people who are saying that Steam Decks will be able to run Switch 2 games are incredibly naive. The Steam Deck can barely run Switch 1 games without frame rate hits. There is no way in high hell that that thing can be able to run Switch 2 games. Along with this, people who are saying, oh, I'll just emulate it, generally have no idea how long it takes to make an emulator, especially one that can work to a point where it can play games natively. And this is coming from somebody who waited years for a Sega Saturn emulator that can actually play games worth a damn. If you're generally thinking that there'll be an emulator for the Switch 2 within the first year, then you are just very wrong and you're going to be waiting a while. Who knows though, I could be wrong. There could be an emulator that'll come out within the first year, which in that case, you will have every right to point and laugh. And yeah, that's my thoughts about it really. So, to clarify, console looks cool, Nintendo are explaining things in a confusing way, Mario Kart World price is bad, and GameCube games are always great to see. Now I'll just upload the Sonic GameCube games on there and my life is yours. Hello, thanks for watching my silly little ramble. Like I said before, this topic's been playing around in my mind since the Switch 2 was revealed earlier this week, so I made this video to get all my thoughts in order. Overall, there is a lot of issues with the Switch 2 that do need addressing, namely for clarity's sake more than anything. Anyway, if you liked what you saw, please do consider giving my channel a subscribe, it does help me out a lot. And also consider watching my previous videos. I've also got a video looking into Disaster Report 4 which should be out either next week or the week after. So please stick around if you're interested in that. If you like more rambly videos, I've got this one here where I talk about the current state of the games industry in regards to preservation, and consider giving me a follow on Blue Sky. And yeah, that's it from me. Have a fantastic day and I'll see you next time.